pale pink background showed an opaque set of letters below the screen. Each letter moved upwards, stopped in the center, then went left and right, and the words formed Chrissy Bista. Name is in white font with dark pink giant shadow behind it. It stretched sideways and went back to its real form. Letters rotated quickly into 90-degree motion and lined up vertically in the screen, then fused themselves together, transformed into letter I, which looked a human stick figure. Letter I glided towards the right and moved backward to the left, and revealed the word, matter. The word because rushed upward the screen in triangular bouncing motion, then it fell down. From the upper section of the screen, incomplete word inclusion bounced down and pushed the word matter downwards and stopped at the right side of letter I. Letter S popped up from the right and glided beside letter R. Title reads,
I matter.
Because inclusion matters.
Hello everyone! Welcome to episode 2 of I Matter Because Inclusion Matters. So sa episode 2, we'll talk about accessibility. Ano ba yung tinatawag na physical accessibility? Ano ba yung digital accessibility? We'll know more later. And bago ang lahat, gusto ko munang bumati ng Happy Women with Disabilities Day. So today, last Monday of March, ito yung itinakda na every last Monday, ito yung celebration dedicated for women with disabilities around the world. So, yung buong month naman talaga ng March is really for women with whoever. Ayoko na kasing mag-specify ng women kasi lahat ng kababaihan importante at lahat ay empowered. And I'm very sure matutuwa kayo sa mga guests natin today kasi yung guests natin ay talagang genuinely empowered at talagang kilala na sa disability sector when it comes to accessibility at saka sa marami pang bagay kasi marami pa silang ina-advocate hindi lang naman yung accessibility. So before that, I'd like to thank everyone who watched our first episode. Thank you so much. I-link namin dito sa description box ulit yung episode 1 ng I Matter para mas convenient sa inyo na panoorin. So, at sana makasama pa namin kayo sa future episodes. So without further ado, tawagin ko na yung guests natin. Ang kasama natin today is first, si Jennifer Anne Mendoza. Hi, Jen! Hi, Jen!
Hi! Hi, Chrissy! Hi, everyone!
Yan. Si Jen po ay co-founder ng Equity Collective and she's also an active member of WOWLEAP. WOWLEAP is Women with Disabilities Leap to Economic and Social Progress. Ayan. So, isa po siya sa mga active members and advocates. And yan, siguradong super empowered woman. And yung next guest naman natin, si Beverly Bravo. Hi, Bev!
Hello, Chrissy, and hello
Hi!
everyone.
How are you?
I'm good.
So, si Bev naman is an IT instructor at pamantasan ng lungsod.
Brown Bag Sessions through video podcast.
Lagi ako nabubulol. I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's get started. Pag-usapan na natin ngayon, ano yung sinasabing accessibility. Kasi this is really a common issue na madalas naman ding pinag-uusapan and yet, sadly, marami pa rin yung hindi masyadong nakaka-appreciate pa or wala pang full understanding about it. So, before we go to the technical definition of accessibility, both in built environment and in digital world, gusto ko muna mapag-usapan natin ano yung tinatawag na lived experience ng persons with disabilities. Ano ba to? In relation to accessibility. And feel free to share your experience din ano yung day-to-day na na-experience in relation to accessibility. Anyone can start. Okay.
Well, for me, Chrissy, as someone who's working in the tech industry, well, both ako nasa academe and partly nasa industry since nabanggit ko nga earlier na I'm an IT instructor and I also do accessibility related works. I mean, specific to digital accessibility work outside ng university. Mostly ng ako personally, mga na-encounter kong problems in accessibility terms of inaccessible formats of documents. Kasi 'di ba, Chrissy, lalo na ng pandemic, na-emphasize yung need for accessible documents. Since information nga was very crucial to have since nagkakaroon tayo ng health crisis, 'di ba? When we say, konting context lang, when we say documents, it's a form of a document, specifically electronic documents, that can be used by all types of people, regardless of abilities or disabilities. So, for example, I'm a visually impaired. I'm one of those, yung term nila is print disabled. Yan, meaning hindi ako nakakabasa ng hard copies, yung piniprint talaga ng physical. So, na-encounter ko na sa digital world, sobrang daming inaccessible documents. Even yung mga pina-publish advisories dati nung time ng pandemic, 'di ba, usually parang ang mga nila doon PDF files. Sobrang hirap i-access nung time na yon. And even for since nasa education ako, yung mga formats ng materials, hindi rin enough yung knowledge. Well, nag-iisa lang naman ako. I mean, ako alam ko yung kung paano gumawa ng accessible documents, but with my co-professors or other engineers na hindi masyadong exposed dun sa idea ng accessible documents, sobrang mahirap. Kaya yung mga na-share din sa akin ng mga friends natin na visually impaired na student nung time ng pandemic, sobrang hirap kasi nale-left behind talaga sila dahil walang accessible na format for their learning materials. So mostly yun yung mga na-encounter ko, inaccessible formats ng documents.
Ako din nahihirapan ako as a person also who is visually impaired. Nahihirapan talaga din ako mag-access ng mga files na, lalo na yung mga images, yung mga
Right.
kinunan lang ng picture or in-scan, tapos image lang siya, hindi man lang sinave as text. Although may mga ways kasi akong ginagamit din para ma-access ko siya, pero walang tatalo sa paano ba i-layman term to? Parang walang tatalo pa rin sa born accessible documents, 'di ba?
Yeah, yung
So,
integrated, yung accessibility.
oo.
Habang ginagawa pa lang sana yung document. Right.
Yeah, true. Sa trabaho, sa employment, ang hirap din kasi minsan pag pinasahan ka ng ganitong file, tapos hindi mo
Relate ako
mabasa,
dyan.
tumatagal yung work hours mo kasi ikaw rin yung gumagawa ng paraan para mabasa mo siya eh. So, only then, pag
Accessible
nabasa mo
siya.
siya,
Right.
yes, only then, saka ka lang makakatrabaho pag nagawan mo na ng paraan. And, people sometimes don't realize, yung mga hindi person with disabilities or yung walang disability, they don't realize sometimes na we work harder and we spend more time.
Yeah,
Really.
more effort.
More
Nag-exert ka
effort
ng
eh.
more effort. Yeah.
True. So, thanks, Bev. Let's go to Jen. Jen, kamusta? Ano ang lived experience mo as a person with disability? When it comes to
Hi.
accessibility. Hello?
Oh my God. Accessibility. It's really
Parang
something that's
parang mahaba yung listahan
Oo
mo
nga eh.
Kasi 'di ba, when we talk about accessibility, it's really something that if you don't have a disability or you're not an older person or you're not pregnant, it's not something that you think about it. But for people with disabilities, it's something that you have to think about every day. For me, I have a physical disability, so I don't use a mobility aid, I don't use an assistive device, but I do have problems walking, running, no. So struggle talaga. It's like when you go out of the house, before you go out, you have to plan your route. Where am I supposed to get off? Diba? If you take public
True.
transportation, where is the location and is the road to that location accessible? Hindi ba siya madulas? Pag madulas siya, meron ba akong hahawakan? Marami kayang tao doon. Pag nadapa ako, may tutulong kaya sa akin? You know these things, parang you don't usually think about this unless you're in the position where parang fearful ka. Pag umuulan, natatakot ako kasi
Yeah, that's my
parang for
question nga
example,
eh.
di
Paano
ba?
paano pag bumabagyo, inabutan ka sa
Hirap niya.
labas?
Kasi you have to plan for it. So I have like, for me, I have a weather app. I think all phones naman have that. I have a weather app and I really consult it before I go out of the house kasi I have to find out what kind of footwear am I going to wear today. So, meron akong mga footwear na malakas yung grip. Pagka alam kong uulan, isusuot ko yun. Pero pagka yung tipong alam ko na I'm not gonna parang travel far, di ba? Mag-grab ako and then afterwards, pasok na diretso sa building. Medyo kaya ko pang magsuot ng footwear na hindi masyadong malakas yung grip. But if it's gonna rain, I do need to plan. Parang gano'n. And also, sometimes, if I need to travel, it's really safer for me to have someone else to help me navigate the environment. Especially right now, when I became older, medyo naramdaman ko rin talaga na yung accessibility issues ko, mas malala siya. Parang compared to when I was a bit younger and a bit more physically fit, no? Mas mahirap sa akin. So, yun, ang dami talaga from reaching the venue to entering a building to circulating around the building. Yun yung parang you have to plan for everything. And it translates to employment. Kasi, for example, you have events at work, you have to go there early para sure ka na hindi ka magtatatakbo, mag-attempt tumakbo at madulas pa. Yung mga ganon. So,
Lalo na pag
it's
meron
really
mga,
something.
yung, what do you call this? Parang, lalo na yung mga employment engagement activities, yung mga sports
Yes.
fest, yung mga family day na ina-offer ng
True.
companies.
Korean.
Siyempre, sasama ka doon,
Mga
di
team
ba?
building. Mga
Yeah,
team building. And then you get to the site and you realize, oh my God, it's not accessible. You have to climb a mountain. Parang, ano gagawin ko? May iwan ba ako sa bus? Ma-realize mo, hindi ako makakapag-participate. And even the activities that they plan, for example, it's a team building activity and they have like a volleyball tournament or a game. Hindi ka pwedeng kasali. Kasi parang, sinong team yung kuha sa'yo, di ba? Parang, wala, cheerleader ka lang forever. So, it's really
Yeah.
something that
It's
you
really
know, I
sad.
more companies knew that, na parang, sana you would plan for more accessible activities.
You know,
Especially
this,
for employee engagement.
yeah. You know, modesty aside, no, I'm not bragging and I'm not bragging on behalf of persons with disabilities. But mapapansin nyo na persons with disabilities, usually, I'm not saying all, but it's common sa atin na we're organized people. Kasi di ba because we live with our disabilities every day and
Necessity yun eh.
di ba? Necessities na sa atin yung pagiging organized eh.
Or
Kasi
kahit hindi ka organized, kailangan mo
Mapipilitan
pilitin.
ka. Yeah.
You have to think
Totoo,
about
totoo.
it eh. Diba? So,
Mm.
parang, oh my God, paano nga ba?
Relate ako dun sa itinerary na part.
Diba?
oo
Kasi kahit ako
naman.
pag umaalis, kailangan meron
Yeah.
ng meron ka na pupuntahan, alam mo na kung saan ka bababa.
Saan ka
Even sa ako
dadaan?
dati nung pati yung number yung sa rooms kasi usually
Ay,
pag for
oo.
example may
Nasa
mga
hotel
events, yung
ka, no?
ang events
Oo.
hall ka. Paano mo titingnan yung number ng rooms? Yun yung dating problema ko. So,
That's true.
merong para-paraan ganyan. Well, definitely easier siya kung may kasama ka pero pag wala, at least ngayon merong tech na kahit papaano nag-a-assist sa'yo
Yeah.
like yung
Yeah.
Be My Eyes, 'di ba? Meron
Yeah.
siya.
And you know, sometimes, hindi siya, I don't know about you girls, pero ako, sometimes I don't feel comfortable kung someone with reception, halimbawa magtatanong ka sa reception desk, parang, how do I get to this room? Tapos bigla kang papasamahan. Sometimes I
Yeah.
don't feel comfortable about that. Kasi
Same.
parang,
Creepy.
diba dapat independently, I should be able to get there without
Yeah.
having someone parang babying over me. Kasi I'm an adult. Parang ganon.
Totoo
But
naman
ito
yan.
lang sa akin.
Yeah.
So yun, I don't
But
know.
of course,
Sometimes
syempre,
yun.
oo. Pero syempre kasi Jen, siguro it's about, providing the right customer service. Syempre from the business side, I guess yun yung concern din nila, to serve everyone well. To, pero gets kita doon, yung independence. Kasi kahit kami ni na Bev, no, sa side ng may visual disability, kahit visual pa ang hindi mo ang hindi mo makita tuloy ang iyong disability. Syempre gusto talaga namin talaga full independence yan.
Right.
Okay. So now, since we're talking about yung inaccessibilities of things like in the digital world and in the physical world, ano yung impact niya sa education, employment, at sa marami pang bagay? Kasi kanina, di ba, actually, mauubos yung 24 hours kaka-discuss ng long list natin of experience. Sa ano pa yung mga na-experience natin na hindi talaga accessible ang mga bagay-bagay. But, what's your opinion about education and employment? The impact of accessibility ng digital and physical?
Siguro I'll go first. In terms of physical accessibility, kasi let's start with education, no? Because it's really the key to employment. If a school or a training institution is not accessible, how do you expect learners with physical disabilities to be able to, even the simple act of getting into the classroom? Diba? If a school is, located in a location where the roads leading to it are not physically accessible, there are no close transport options, it's really difficult for a student, especially if this student is living in a rural area and the parents are, poor. They need to spend their days working, so they cannot afford to, accompany the student to the school. Hindi siya
Or
pwedeng
even
ihatid.
pay a service, no?
Diba? Or
Yeah.
even pay a service. So, the student will really struggle. And the time will come, talagang panghihinaan ng loob yung estudyante. Sabihin niya, tama na. Kasi, nakakapagod.
Mapuputol yung-
Imagine.
True. Mapuputol yung education niya and mapuputol yung brighter future niya for employment. So, can we imagine also yung diba, yung mga napapanood na sa TV, yung tumatawid ng bangka.
Yes.
Dalawang ilog bago makarating sa
Mga rural areas. Right.
And for me talaga, you shouldn't glorify that eh. Parang it should be a wake-up call, diba? Na parang,
Rather
it should be a
than-
wake-up call.
True.
Ayusin. Rather than, parang featuring different kids, from different backgrounds, going through the same struggle, na papalit-palit ng mukha at pangalan, pero pareho lang yung struggle nila.
Kasi,
Di ba dapat
oo.
wake-up call na yon na
It should
we should
be.
do something.
It should be
Yeah.
really, it should be a wake-up call for a systemic change. Kasi ang pinaka-ayoko talaga, personally speaking ang pinaka-ayoko sa media kasi when they feature these type of stories, nire-romanticize kasi yung resilience ng mga bata or kahit na hindi bata, kahit adults, diba? Ayoko kasi yung nire-romanticize yung resilience. It should be a wake-up call rather than an inspirational story. Of course, of course, wala namang masama dun sa ma-inspire ka. Pero kasi kung wala namang call to action, hindi ka rin naman tutulong. Wala kang i-contribute at na-inspire ka lang sa sofa mo habang nanonood ka ng TV. Pero parang, ako talaga, I'm one of those people who advocate for no to romanticizing disability. Kasi nira-romanticize din tayo actually. And I'm pretty sure pare-parehas na tayo nagkaroon ng offers, no? And guestings and mga activities na kung saan talagang ginawa tayong inspirational objects.
Yeah. Inspi porn.
Inspi porn pa more. So, no to inspi porn. And sadly, hindi tayo, what do you call this? Hindi pa tayo heard louder about the passion or advocacy on no to inspi porn. And of course, I respect people. And I also respect other people who sabihin na natin kung subscribes to that. Kasi you cannot please everybody, diba? Pero kung opinion namin yung tatanungin nyo, no to ano kami talaga, no, no, no to inspi porn. And if you want to know more about inspi porn, what is inspiration porn all about, what is that concept, para alam mo din kung bumabagsak ka na ba sa inspiration porn kapag ganito yung ginagawa mo sa iyong kapwa, you can watch our video. It's a previous vlog discussing more about inspi porn, and nasa description box lang po siya for your convenience. It will be easy for you to follow that episode. Click nyo lang po sa description. Okay, going back, though related naman yun, ano pa, ikaw Beb, ano pa yung share mo about the impact of digital accessibility naman sa education, employment, and other life aspects?
Mhm. Yeah, actually, briefly na-mention ko na rin siya earlier, yung result ng inaccessible na learning materials. Ayan, of course, paano makakapag-aral yung mga person with disability, especially yung impaired or mga, in general, mga print disabled, kung hindi ganun ka-accessible yung na pinoprovide. So, nasabi ko rin kanina na sobrang naging evident yon nung dumating yung pandemic. Kasi back in 2019, medyo nahuhuli or halos hindi makasabay yung visually impaired sa education. I mean, nakakasabay sila pero super strong and super effort. Mga times, times 2 to 3 na amount of effort yung kailangan nilang i-exert para lang maka-access ng accessible formats for learning materials. Parang how much more nung dumating yung pandemic na lahat tayo nasa kanya-kanyang bahay, tapos lang online, di ba?
Parang literally purely online.
Purely online tayo. So ang unang question doon nga yung platform muna eh. Yung platform, are those platforms accessible?
Pa lang, sablay na.
Oo pa. So paano makakausap ng teacher yung mga bata, 'di ba? Paano sila makakapagklase kung hindi ma-access ng bata yung platform? So, yung learning materials eh. Kasi isa pa din 'yon. Matagal na siya actually yung problem even before the pandemic pa. And yun nga, sabi nga ni Miss Jan kanina, 'di ba? Correlated naman talaga yung education to employment. Of course, parang paano makuha ng magandang trabaho kung hindi ka nakapag-aral, hindi mo natapos, di ba? I mean, pwede naman, possible siya. Extra struggle yun kapag hindi nakatapos ng
pero
pag-aaral.
Kasi yun, Bebe, parang hindi naman siya applicable sa lahat na everyone would be very lucky to get a very good job kahit hindi sila nakatapos ng college or high school.
Yeah.
Parang parang siyang by chance or by luck, pero parang mahirap umasa sa anong tawag doon, quote-unquote swerte. Mahirap kasi umasa sa ganun eh. Parang ikaw ba yung malalaglagan ng swerte? Parang
dapat lahat ng possible avenues, diba, para makakuha ka ng work. Dapat lahat ng tao nakaka-access nun equally. Well, yun nga yung problem natin since hindi accessible yung platforms and learning materials. Nababawasan yung sa luck na part, diba? Para makakuha ng magandang work sa future. And dito sa Pilipinas, sobrang magastos maging person with disability. Grabe.
True! I super agree din si Jen.
Kasi diba,
yan. Oh my God.
Diba? Grab pala. My gosh. Na-experience kong gumastos ng thousands sa isang linggo para lang maka-travel ako from one place to another without a companion. Kasi gastos mo kasi babayaran mo pa lahat, di ba? All expenses. Syempre, times 2 yun eh. Tapos, wala, lahat na times 2 yung gastos mo. And dito pa, accessible transportation, di ba? Sobrang affected din kami niyan. Lalo ngayon, sobrang, ewan ko na lang. Ang gulo-gulo na ng natin, masyado. Dati magulo na siya eh. Pero based on experience na yun, mas nalilito na ako. Oo. Akala ko pag nagbago sila ng route, sabi ko, mas sana mag-improve na yung Ngayon, mas lalo nang nawalan ako ng chance. Nag-isa. Kasi nga dati isang biyahe lang mula dito sa bahay namin hanggang isang bus lang. Ngayon, ay nako. sobrang dami na
Sobra.
dami ko ng sasakyan. So, maga-Grab na lang ako. Paano kung yun nga wala akong work na kayang i-sustain yung ganong klaseng ganong mga
Exactly.
expenses. So, 'di
Exactly.
ba? Ang daming nawawala sana sa akin kung gano'n. So,
Yeah.
yun.
True. Kaya nga we kept on pushing for more ano eh, 'di ba? For more inclusive social services sa government kasi hindi talaga ano eh, parang you cannot have it all. I mean, hindi mo kakayanin lahat. Hindi mo mabibigay sa sarili mo lahat. And
Right.
alam nga naman sabihin mo sa sarili mo dahil hindi ko kaya. Huwag na lang ako magtrabaho. Kasi mahirap pumasok, hindi ka makasakay ng jeep, hindi ka makapag-bus. Parang, ako naman, ang sad naman pag yun na yung sinabi mo sa sarili mo. And ayoko namang sabihin ng person with disabilities yun sa sarili
Nakakalungkot yun.
Diba, Jen?
Yes, tsaka syempre karapatan naman ng persons with disabilities na magtrabaho, 'di ba? Parang how are you supposed to survive, 'di ba? Hindi naman lahat ng tao may generational wealth para
Right.
mag-survive
True.
nang hindi
True.
nag-work. So,
Super relate ako
we
dyan.
and we want to work. Kaya sana parang mas maging accessible yung lahat ng systems that enable us to have that right, to exercise that right to work.
Exactly. So, what is your opinion about this naman? Meron kasing mga ibang bulong-bulungan, wow, sa ibang mga marites sessions sa paligid, na marites sessions talaga, na ano daw, why don't we have a special school na lang for persons with disabilities na kung saan yon sa school na yon, environment na yon, lahat ay accessible, gagawing accessible for us. Tapos ganun din sa employment daw yung tinatawag na sheltered workshop na kung saan accessible din lahat. What's your response to those things na nababanggit madalas sa mga marites sessions around?
Tumataas yung BP ko ng slide.
Ay, tumataas ba? Ay, ako kanina pa nakataas,
Go,
girl.
Bev! Mauna ka na, Bev. Kasi
Sige.
mataas na yung BP mo.
Ay, yung mataas mo ng BP.
Ang counterproductive naman nun. I mean, actually, both high school, based on experience ko, nung high school ako, tsaka nung college ako, both na may nagsabi sa akin na bakit hindi na lang magkaroon ng special school para sa mga visually impaired o para sa persons with disabilities. Nung una ko experience nung high school, wala akong parang hindi ko pa kasi alam parang yung rights ko, hindi ko alam ipagtanggol yung sarili. Hindi ka pa talaga aware. Akala ko parang na yun, parang favor na sa akin yun kung magkakaroon ng ganon. Pero nung college ako doon, at least mas aware na ako. Well, unang-una, syempre, sinabi ko na wala, at saka hindi na natin napopromote yung tinatawag nating inclusivity. Kung i-shelter mo ilalagay mo sa isang place lang yung person with disabilities, di ba? Natin ipaglalaban yung kailangan naka-mainstream or yun nga, inclusive yung society natin. Kung yan yung way of thinking, yan yung way mo yan yung solution mo dun sa problem na yun. Na yan, parang part ng band-aid solution. Kasi, na-solve mo yung problem, yes, meron ka ng accessible environment, pero yung mas malalim na problema sa society, yung attitude ng mga tao, inaccessible environment, inaccessible digital formats or digital platforms, hindi mo siya na-address. Tsaka nakakalungkot yun. Parang pag kunwari parent ka, tapos sasabihin sa anak mo na, padala nyo na lang po yung anak nyo dun sa special school na ganon. Parang medyo masakit siya. I mean, masakit talaga siya kasi definitely, bakit? Hindi ba deserve ng anak ko na ma-integrate sa society?
Exactly.
Ano bang pinagkaiba niya, di ba? We're persons with disabilities, pero person muna tayo, di ba? Bago tayo nagkaroon ng disability. And our disability is part of our identity, di ba? It shapes our lives. Pero hindi dapat yun nakaka-affect. I mean, the environment itself, hindi dapat yun maging hindrance para magawa natin yung mga gusto natin gawin. Kung gusto natin mag-aral, sa kahit anong school, dapat magagawa natin yun. Kung gusto natin mag-work, anong company na gusto natin, dapat magagawa natin yun. with yung tinatawag na reasonable accommodation. Isa din kasing misconception pag sinabi nilang pag mag-work yung isang person with disability, with any disabilities akala nila sobrang laking adjustment na nung gagawin nila. Yung as in, kailangan baguhin yung buong system. Kasi usually ganun nag-aaral ako, akala nila kailangan akong bigyan ng special exam, kailangan ng special equipment. Computer science yung pinapasok kong course. Yung tanong sa akin, kaya mo ba to? Paano ka makakapag-computer? Kasi una pa lang, hindi na sila aware sa capabilities ng persons with disabilities. Yun pa lang yung una, yung awareness pa lang na nag-e-exist tayo, mayroon tayong sariling life, yan, gumigimik tayo, di ba? Yung mga ganon. Hindi pa nila
Pagkagaling
alam.
mo nga lang sa gimmick noong nakarang linggo.
Oo.
Diba?
Parang, yeah. So, paano pa yun? Parang, paano pa yung ibang questions nila? So, pwede nating ipasa sa parang out of ignorance, pero parang hanggang kailan sila magiging ignorant, di ba? Kailan sila dapat mag-initiate din sila to learn more. Lalo na yung mga people na nasa service industry, di ba? Nasa education.
Yeah.
So, kailangan alam nila yung mga ganun. Ayan.
True. Sige, tawagin natin ng isa pang mataas ang BP. Jen Mendoza.
Yes.
Gano'n na ba kataas yung
Totoo
BP
yan.
mo? 240 na ba?
Medyo manageable pa naman. Pero, actually, gusto ko naman bato. Joke lang. No, for me, yung practice ng institutionalization, 'di ba, yung pagko-confine sa mga people with disabilities to a certain institution or facility, whether it be a school or yung nursing home or yung hospital, no, yung mga residential schools. I think merong limited cases na acceptable siya. And we have to accept na merong mga people with disabilities na hanggang ngayon they prefer that. Parang ganon, it's still being practiced. Especially for people with disabilities with high support needs. Parang hindi niya kaya na nasa bahay lang siya or yung parang yung independent living. Pero siguro I would like to appeal to yung authorities din nagde-decide ng mga ganong policies na actually in the long run institutionalization as a policy, adapting that policy for people with disabilities, whether in school or in employment or even in community life, no, yung tatanggalin ka sa bahay tapos ilalagay ka sa institution doon ka titira. It's really harmful for 5 key reasons. Ako, in-outline ko talaga to, no, sa gitna ng inis ko.
Sige, outline mo. Number 1.
Number 1, yung loss of autonomy and independence. Na nabanggit na ni Bev kanina. Pagka nasa institution ka, wala kang autonomy, wala kang independence, no? Wala kang choice to control your own life. 'Di ba? Kasi merong mga magbabantay sa'yo. They will dictate what you will do that
May
day.
curfew.
Ganyan. So, yeah, walang autonomy and independence. Pangalawa, social isolation. 'Di ba? Even if you have people with the same disabilities as you living or working in that sheltered environment, you are separated from your own family and your own community. 'Di ba? Parang ang nangyayari, magkakasama kayo dyan, lahat kayo blind, lahat kayo deaf. Alam natin, merong schools na ganyan until now. 'Di ba? Tapos, in the end, 'di ba, when you graduate, for example, if it's an elementary school or until high school, in the end, if you graduate, mag-age out ka na of the system, ano mangyayari sa'yo? Diba? Hindi mo kayang mag-live independently kasi for most of your life, you were socially isolated. It impacted your mental health and your well-being so much na hindi ka well-adjusted to live outside of that institution. Pangatlo, yung stigma. Diba? Yung stigma. Kasi hindi nakakatulong yung institutionalization na basagin yung stigma about people with disabilities. Kasi parang nire-reinforce mo lang yung belief na yung people with disabilities, hindi nila kaya mabuhay independently, hindi nila kaya magtrabaho, hindi nila kaya mag-participate fully in society. Diba? Tapos, siguro, the last two would be abuse, 'di ba? Mas maraming kaso ng abuse and neglect sa mga institutions. It's not just here in the Philippines but also globally. There are documented cases kung saan nakakaranas ng physical, sexual abuse,
Reality
psychological
yan.
abuse, yung people with disabilities na institutionalized. Kasi wala silang
Yeah.
same protection compared to if they were living in the community. Halimbawa, pag nakatira ka sa community at nakita na minamaltrato ka ng mga magulang mo, may magre-report sa bantay bata. Pero pag nakatira ka sa institution, who's going to report? When the people who are running the institution are the ones abusing you. So you don't
Right.
have that same level of protection. And panglima, yung cost. Kasi when we compute it, diba, the cost to society is actually greater when you put up these institutions. Kasi you have to fund them eh. Tapos, yung bubuhayin mo yung mga bata. Halimbawa, naka-residential school sila. Diba? Pupondohan siya ng gobyerno. Is the cost really
Kasi syempre,
parang
covered nila yung meals nun. Meals.
comparable ba yon na isipin mo kung ginawa mo na lang accessible yung schools. Diba?
True.
Ginawa mo na lang accessible yung communities. Diba? You don't have to have these residential schools anymore. Except for very limited cases. Hindi kagaya ngayon na there are so many cases na alam mo yon yung mga bata fully independent naman sana pero nilalagay doon sa mga segregated schools. It breaks my heart. It makes me angry, breaks my heart kasi you're robbing them of the capacity to learn independent living skills.
And live a quote-unquote normal life.
Oo, pag nag-age out na, 18 na, kailangan niya na umalis ng school, saan siya pupunta? Hindi nga siya natuto na makipaghalubilo sa walang disability. Diba?
Yeah.
Yung
And
ganun eh.
may impact
So,
din yan pag nag-work na sila eh. When they reach the working age, diba?
True.
Paano magko-cope
Oo.
up yan in a mainstream environment?
Wala. Kaya ang mangyayari, ilalagay sila sa sheltered employment. Na alam natin yung sheltered employment, ang baba ng kita niyan ha, hindi yan competitive wages.
No,
Hindi yan
it's not.
competitive
No.
salary.
No, hindi siya competitive wage, and there will be no career advancement for you. Unfortunately.
Totoo, yun lang yun. Kung ano lang yung task nyo. Halimbawa, gagawa kayo ng crafts, diba? Arts and crafts. Yun lang forever. Which is good if you want to do that. But if you want a career in IT, you want a career in tech, you want a career in STEM, wala.
Baga
Sorry.
parang
Diba?
kung
Yeah.
may ambition ka na ito yung career path na gusto kong tahakin, ganyan, parang you would not be able to do that or 'di ba, get that if you're institutional.
Dapat may choice lagi. May choice.
Yeah. Ako gusto ko yung sinabi ni Jen, yung para sa mga may high support needs. Siguro mas maganda na options
Yeah,
are,
oo.
'di ba? Parang for me,
Options are
mas
available.
available.
Yes.
Options are available na kung gusto mo, lalo na based on your needs or ito yung suitable for your case or situation, sana meron available. Pero kung ayaw mo naman, like for example, choice mo na hindi, sana hindi rin naman parang ipagkakait sa yun. Sana may choice ka din kapag ayaw mo sa isang institution. Ang nangyayari kasi, mas pinupush yung institution, tapos ayaw i-push naman yung kabilang side, which is gawing mas accessible ang mga bagay-bagay. Sana mapagpantay natin yun, no? Na, kasi para masabi natin na persons with disabilities have choices in life. They can choose kung saan nila gusto. And for me, when it comes to institutionalization, pagdating sa employment and education, for example, parang the way I imagined it, it's parang you're living inside a bubble. And there's like,
Precisely.
diba? You're
Yes.
living inside a bubble, and in that particular bubble, there's like a small paradise inside that you enjoy. Tapos pagka na-burst na yung bubble mo at wala ka na, parang how can you live?
Ah,
Yeah. Ako,
And sometimes, yung
Literal
loob ng
na,
bubble, hindi rin siya paradise.
oh,
Diba?
yun nga eh.
Diba? Not
Parang,
always-
true. And promotion-wise, napopromote lang siya na okay dito, maganda dito. Of course, hindi natin nilalahat, no? Beep, beep. Hindi natin, beep, beep. Hindi naman natin nilalahat. But it doesn't mean na walang mga ganong horror stories na nangyayari sa isang
Totoo.
institution. So, tama din yung sinabi ni Jen.
Mm.
Lalo ngayon, Women with Disabilities celebration or it's our
Yes.
day, 'di ba? So, maraming women with disabilities ang abused or naa-abuse sa isang
Totoo.
institution.
Yeah. Mas vulnerable.
Mas
Yes.
vulnerable yan for abuse or any kind of assault kasi nga wala kang ang pantay na protection eh. 'Di ba? Diyos-diyosan ang mga namamahala ng institution. Yan ang batas, yan ang Diyos sa loob ng institution, 'di ba? And I'm very grateful that my family preferred na dalhin ako sa yun nga, sa inclusive environment from nursery hanggang sa college kasi doon ko nakita yung hirap ng buhay. Mahirap talaga, guys. Alam nyo rin naman yun, 'di ba, girls? Mahirap for our viewers. Alam nyo po, kami lahat, nahirapan talaga kami sa isang mainstream environment nung nag-aaral kami. Kahit naman na
Definitely.
nagtatrabaho
Yeah.
kami. Pero for me, hindi naman siguro sa sadista ako, masochista ako sa sarili ko. But I enjoy that difficulty. Na-enjoy ko siya in a way because I learned how to be organized and I learned how to find
Yes.
solutions sa mga ganong problema na ngayon alam ko na yung gagawin whenever I encounter that. So,
Yeah.
yun.
Both din kasi yung growth, 'di ba, Chrissy? Parang growth dun sa mga taong nakakasalamuha mo, yung kung saan ka na-expose yung environment, definitely nag-improve yung accessibility nila kasi kasama ka nila na, alam mo yun, nagsosolve dun sa problem.
Exactly.
Kung hindi accessible yung documents, yung ano lang kilang dun is to communicate. Yun talaga yung
True. Tapos, ano pa sila, natututo pa sila about disability inclusion kasi meron na silang first-hand experience from you.
Right.
Natututo na sila sa atin, nakasalamuhan nila tayo na, ay, ganito pala. And nalalaman nila na persons with disabilities are funny people too. Parang, alam mo yun, yung hindi pala sila fragile and parang like a porcelain in a tocador, ganon.
May
Na-
nagtanong sa akin yun recently. Kung
Ano na,
malungkutin
ang
ba
alin?
daw tayo mga tao. Yung nagtanong sa akin.
OMG! Sino nagtanong niyan? Ade, wag
Kung
mo
malung-
sabihin sa amin ni Jen.
Kung
Basta
malungkot.
naman yung BP ni Jen.
Kung sabi niya, kasi
Oh.
nagulat siya.
No, we
na
laugh all the time.
na-
Even
Yeah,
laugh at
sabi ko,
ourselves, diba?
True.
Grabe naman yun, malungkutin. Ay naku, hindi po. In fact, hindi lang kami malungkutin. Masarap pa kaming kumain.
I think really, it stems from the view of disability as something that's a tragedy. Di ba? Parang, tingin kasi sa
My
disability,
gosh.
tragedya, ganyan. Kaya parang, if I were that person, hindi ko yun kaya. Parang ganon. So, ina-assume siguro na para tayong mga,
Yeah.
tragic na mga...
Tragic. Totoo yan. Totoo.
Hindi.
And
We're
and-
proud.
we're proud. And actually, in-emphasize ko yan sa isang talk ko sa isang government agency. As in, like, recently lang, few days ago or few weeks ago, for the celebration nga of Women's Month, na sabi ko, disability isn't really a bad thing. And you shouldn't think about it as a bad thing at all. Kasi, for the record, it doesn't mean na when you're a person with disability, your life is a lonely life. Ganyan. And you might be surprised that it's the exact opposite of what you believe na sad life. So, in-emphasize ko talaga sa kanila ng mabigat yan. Kasi, during my intro talk sa activity, sabi ko, what comes into your mind when you hear the word disability or when you hear the word person with disability? Grabe, bumabaha sa chat box ng kawawa, ano pa ba?
Yeah.
Kailangan laging tulungan, hindi kayang mag-isa. Yung hindi kayang mag-isa, talagang tumatak sa akin yun eh. One of the responses sa chat box. Tapos, kailangan alagaan palagi. Ano pa ba? Meron pa ata doon na kailangan samahan palagi. Ganon. Parang, kaya lang, syempre, nasa activity ako, hindi ako pwedeng sumagot, diba? So, sabi ko, we really have to process the 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 thoughts or the perceptions one by one. Kumbaga, hindi dissect siguro. It's more on in-unpack namin yung concept one by one. So at the end of the session, finally na intindihan na nila yung tinatawag na social model perspective on disability, na it's really the environment that has barriers. And ito talaga yung nakakahinder sa person with disability when it comes to productivity sa school, sa work, 'di ba? Mga ganyan. And hopefully, no, yung I Matter segment natin, mapanood nila lahat hanggang matapos yung mga episodes. Kasi from here, you would hear a lot of stories from persons with disabilities, the lived experience, and makikita natin how inaccessible our environment is. So, given na ito yung mga ganap talaga sa paligid, if ever someone from the government is watching the episode or makarating sa kanila at some point dahil kakapasa-pasa ng link ng episode, what can we share? Anong pwede nating i-advise, i-suggest, or ano yung pwede nating itulong? Since we're advocates, lahat tayo, no, in different fields, paano tayo makaka-assist sa kanila? And ano din yung panang wishlist natin? So, yun.
Siguro, na ako, okay lang, Bev?
Yes.
For me, it's really, number one is really to work with the disability sector in developing policies, programs, and practices on accessibility. You need to center the voices of disabled people when it comes to issues that concern us. Kasi, and when we say centering the voices of disabled people, it means centering the voices of all types of disability. Including people with psychosocial, intellectual, learning, cognitive disabilities. Kasi sila madalas nakakalimutan. And there's an assumption na hindi nila kaya, no? Wala silang masasabi. When in fact, for so long, they've been left out of the conversation. And the government needs to take steps, concrete steps to better understand yung hindi lang yung lived experience ng people with disabilities, but the barriers that we face every day. And we can spend like maybe 10 episodes just talking about the barriers, but just to understand ano yung mga barriers na kinakaharap araw-araw, tapos ano yung impact nito. Tapos ako, what can I bring to the table personally? So Chrissy knows this, and of course Bev, you know this also. I work professionally as a DEI trainer, and I work a lot with the private sector in making workplaces more diverse, equitable, and inclusive, not just for people with disabilities, but for everyone. So yeah, if you need people who will facilitate disability awareness sessions or people who can do accessibility audits, go to the disability community, because we're here and we're ready to give you our services. Kasi we know na what we do will not only impact us, but also future generations of disabled children. Diba? So, ako, maybe that's it. Really to center our voices, to involve us in the process. And yun, yung parang yung pag-draft ng policies na
True.
Policies that are participatory in the sense na you have our interests integrated into that. Sige, turning it over to you, Beth.
Ayun,
Ayan.
Beth.
Agree ako dyan. No to tokenism tayo. Pagdating
True.
sa ganun.
No, talaga. Kahit employment tokenism, no.
Oo, any kind of tokenism, no tayo dyan. Ayan. So, actually, everything starts with awareness. Nabanggit nga natin kanina, di ba, na yung stem ng problem kung bakit madaming inaccessibility issues is that unang-una hindi naman aware yung mga tao, and yung little exposure that they have sa persons with disabilities nanggagaling lang din sa kung ano nakita nila sa media, di ba? Yun nga yung dinidiscuss namin lagi sa VPAL, yung media rep talaga, kung paano siya nakaka-apekto sa atin as an individual, and paano din siya nakaka-apekto sa society. And yun din, to take yung government people to take the initiative to break yung mga biases meron sila. Which is also connected to what Miss Jen said na consult us. Tsaka yun nga, no to tokenism. Hindi lang yun sa umpisa lang. Usually ganun kasi, super high energy sa umpisa, tapos biglang bababa hanggang sa hindi na kinoconsult. Tapos natapos na lang yung project or natapos na yung policy. Tapos makita natin na hindi pala yun yung tamang solusyon dun sa problem. So, yun din yung gusto kong emphasize, yung consultation and to break our own biases din. On a personal level din. Kasi mahirap naman yung minsan kasi parang out of it's the government's obligation to serve it. Pero mas okay pa din na at least alam mo talaga yung ginagawa mo. Alam mo yung landscape, diba? Alam mo yung current situation ng persons with disabilities para alam mo din kung paano i-solve yung problem na yon. And personally siguro, what I can contribute since I am on the tech industry, so I do accessibility walkthroughs or audits. So yan, gusto ko lang din iparating na accessibility, madali lang naman talaga siya kung i-integrate na natin siya early on at the earliest stage possible, hindi yung kalagitnaan or hindi yung tapos na. Sinasabi na term ni Chrissy na dapat lahat ng bagay ay born accessible kasi makakasave tayo doon ng time, ng human resource, lahat. Kasi makakasave tayo ng resources, definitely. All kinds of resources.
And expenses.
Oo, yan ang importante. Kaching-kaching, di ba? So, if
Oo.
baka may mas maganda pa tayong paglalaanan ng ibang budget natin instead of pag-aaksaya doon sa maling solution. So, ayan.
True. Totoo yan. So, it's really a good investment when we invest on accessibility. Kasi may nabasa nga ako recently na parang literature siya on disaster naman. Na parang you can save $7 per person sa isang disaster by investing at least $1 to right infrastructure, to right accessibility. So, I don't know kung paano, hindi ko lang alam kung, syempre, mga economic managers siguro yung nag-compute niyan, no? I'm not so sure how it's being computed, pero at least it was explained on a layman's term.
May study na.
Oo, na kumbaga, na parang isipin natin na mas makakasave tayo. Kasi usually ang naiisip nila pag person with disability or kapag yung accessibility, iniisip na gastos yan. Wala namang bagay yung walang gastos, diba? But it's really just channeling your investments right or correctly, diba? So, for me, pag-isipan natin, ano yung long term nito? At lalo na, kasama kasi ng accessibility ang safety ng tao and security. And for our friends in the government, we're here to help. Ako, I'm part of policy reform advocate, so pwede po ako makatulong sa policy reforms. I do social research and I also do advocacy and may professional work din ako sa DEI or disability inclusion trainings, ganyan, equity, inclusion. I also do that. Lahat kami dito, si Bev din, hindi lang digital yan. Lumalabas din yan sa mundo ng digital world. Nagdi-disability sensitivity training din niya, kagaya ni Jen. So, lahat po kami makakatulong sa inyo. Just give us the opportunity to be heard. And pag-usapan po natin yan. There's nothing wrong if we ask the things that we don't know. So, parang alisin natin yung fear of asking dahil akala ba natin very sensitive issue ang disability. Hindi naman totally, pero mas maganda kasi talaga na wala na yung fear na nakakayang magtanong about this and that. It's better na mag-usap tayo. Ano yung hindi nyo maintindihan sa disability and will surely help you understand that. So, is there any other last advice ba or suggestions? How about to our friends in the community, for fellow persons with disabilities? Do you have advice or wanna say something? Especially to our fellow women with disabilities. Ayan.
Yes.
Ang mga kapwa nating Eva.
I think personally, ma-advise ko lang is for my fellow persons with disabilities, especially sa mga persons with um, of course, yung acknowledgement muna na nakakatakot talagang lumabas. I mean, wala naman tayo, hindi naman tayo nakakulong, pero parang somewhat ganun yung naging, pero take calculated risk siguro. Hindi kasi ako yung type ng person na as in super risk taker, pero I take risks from time to time, pero calculated. So, nakakatakot na makisalamuha. I mean, 'di ba? Hindi pa totally aware yung mga tao. Meron pa tayong attitudinal barriers, 'di ba? Barriers sa environment. Pero take that step and use yung mga given na hopefully merong resources on your end na pwede mong magamit to really integrate yourself sa community. So, kasi experience din yung exposure mo lang, kahit nga hindi ka mag-disability or sensitivity workshop, the mere fact na kasama ka nila, nakikisalamuha ka sa outside ng disabled community, it's already a big help para ma-empower mo sila through that experience and knowledge na kasama ka nila. And yun din, take that leap na yan, kahit nakakatakot siya. And develop that confidence through competence. Ayan. And syempre, especially sa employment, syempre pag mag-apply ka, kailangan meron kang right skills. So, yeah, scary siya, pero i-equip mo yung self mo with the right skills and the right attitude din para maging maganda yung work experience mo kung mag-work ka pa lang in the future. And siguro for those students, since nasa academe ako, communicate. Ayun. Kasi hindi naman malalaman ng mga tao sa paligid mo na nahirap mo naman sinasabi. 'Di ba? Wala namang ibang mas nakakaalam ng needs mo kung hindi ikaw eh. So, yun din yung isa sa skill na kailangan mong i-develop, yung communication. Sabi nga ni Chrissy, wag mahiyang magtanong, 'di ba? Kasi importante yon sa person with disability na alam mong i-communicate yung needs mo with other people, with people na alam mong makakatulong sa'yo. I mean, there will be times na hindi ka na tutulungan or ituturo ka nila sa iba, and that's part of the experience, I guess. Hindi mo naman talaga maiwasan yun. But the important thing is, on your end, you did your best to reach out. Kasi hindi pwedeng sabi ng mga needs natin yung para passive-aggressive, di ba? We have to say it to the right people din. Yun nga. Communication talaga is the para makagalaw ka sa society. And yun nga, hindi natin pwedeng hintayin na maging accessible yung environment kasi baka hindi ko alam kung kailang lifetime yun magiging fully accessible yung society natin. So we have to take that step. Kahit baby steps lang, expose mo lang yung sarili mo, malaking bagay na yun para ma-empower yung society natin.
True. Kaya labas, gala. Tama bang advice yun? De, joke lang. Sige. Jen, hello. Okay na yung BP mo?
Yes, siguro for me, bukod dun sa mga nasabi ni Bev, I totally agree. You need to learn to speak up, you need to learn to communicate. Siguro, ang idadagdag ko lang, especially if you're entering the world of work, you're entering the workforce, you have to educate yourself regarding your rights, and you have to know what reasonable accommodations you need. Dapat alam mo, kasi ikaw ang magsasabi nun. Huwag mong hintayin na manghula yung kumpanya kung ano yung kailangan mo. You have to know and you have to be able to communicate that clearly. Because how can you advocate for yourself, diba? If you don't know kung ano yung kailangan mong support. You have to identify, you have to understand very clearly. Bilang person with disability, I really think it's our responsibility to know our rights. So read up on the laws that have to do with disability. We have a lot in the Philippines, but we also have a lot internationally. And no reasonable accommodations. Dapat alam natin yun. Kasi tayo yung mag-advocate para sa mga sarili natin. Next is to build a support network. It doesn't have to be a formal support network. If you're not comfortable, you don't have to join an organization, but you have to have a support network who can also help give advice and, to help advocate for your needs. Dapat meron kang ganun. Kasi yun yung magbibigay sa'yo ng confidence, tas tutulong din sa'yo na mag-connect dun sa mga networks na kailangan mo para mag-prosper ka sa workforce. Lalo na pag yung career yung pinag-uusapan. Pero syempre, mas ideal pa rin if you actually take action and join groups. Kasi syempre, we're more powerful. We're stronger together. Ika nga, di ba? So, you join groups of fellow people with disabilities. Kasi ako, talagang when I started in the disability sector, I didn't know anything. Parang, natuto lang din ako sa mga kapwa ko advocates because hindi mo naman talaga malalaman lahat eh. Especially your lived experience is so narrow. And you will only learn if you interact with fellow people with disabilities who went through the same things you. Diba? So, don't take advantage of that community. Malaki tayo and gradually we're becoming more out and more proud. Diba? Mas magiging vocal na. So,
out and proud.
Join organizations, diba? Connect with our community. Yun siguro.
Ayun. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Bev, for joining us sa episode 2 ng I Matter. Totoo talaga yung sinasabi ng segment natin, no, na I Matter because inclusion matters. So again, thank you to our guests, empowered guests, actually. Thank you, Jen, again, and Bev. See you on episode 3 of I Matter. Bye! Bye!
On a white background showed a logo laying slant on the screen. The logo stood up, positioned itself in the center, and a light ray shined upon the letters from left to right, which looked like a reflection. The logo is in hexagon shape with red outline, and the inner color is white. The words read,
ASEAN Enabling Master Plan 2025.
Credits appeared. On a black background showed words in pale pink font which reads, "I Matter segment would like to thank the following, Chrissy Bisda, program host, and one of the consultants of the ASEAN Enabling Master Plan Philippines, Beverly Bravo, guest Jennifer Mendoza, guest Dr. Rex Bernardo, consultant, ASEAN Enabling Master Plan Philippines, Jennifer Garcia, consultant, ASEAN Enabling Master Plan Philippines, Lauro Porcil, project director, ASEAN Enabling Master Plan Philippines. Rosie Ferrer, finance and admin officer, Reynaldo Rifran, technical support and admin officer, Kisha Marie Jones Gonzalez, social media support, John Vincent Abihay, video editor and captioning support, International Foundation for Electoral Systems or IFES, General Election Network for Disability Access, or Agenda, Center for Learning and Livelihood Foundation, or CALL Foundation, Camarines North Persons with Disabilities Affairs Office. Camarines North State College, Institute of Computer Studies interns.
Brown Bag Sessions through video podcast.